Hello, welcome to this session of parasitology. Today we will be discussing filariasis part 1. Friends, you must have seen people having such disfigured legs. You can see this swollen legs. So this is known as elephantiasis and that is caused by the filaria. Today we will be discussing. So the objectives of today's session are: first, we will see general features of these worms and filariasis. We'll see the epidemiology, its morphology of adult worm and its larva, its life cycle, the pathogenesis and clinical disease, and finally, we'll see one other related clinical condition which is known as occult filariasis. So, filariasis. The disease which is known since antiquity, even it has mentioned in Sushruta Samhita. The name is derived from the Latin word phylum, that means thread, because this worm, filarial worms, are very small thread-like, thin thread-like worm. The worm is viviparous, which gives birth to the larva. There are two forms, one is adult and other is microfilarial. The definitive host is human and the insects, blood-sucking insects like mosquito are the intermediate host. They do have one bacteria in their body which is known as endosymbiotic bacteria, which is known as Wolbachia. Now this bacteria has a very unique role in its pathogenesis. It makes the disease more aggressive and it leads to immune mediated damage to the host. It also requires in the reproduction of the filaria. So during the treatment of filariasis, we do treat even with tetracycline, which is antibacterial, to kill this bacteria, which is helpful in the treatment of oral filariasis. Periodicity. This filarial worms would come, microfilaria would come in the blood at specific period of time. For example, for Buchereria bancrofti, there is a nocturnal periodicity. That means microfilaria would come in blood only in the night. This is because of its evolutionary adaptation to its vector, because most of the time W. bancrofti is transmitted by Culex mosquito, which usually bites in the night. So that's why the microfilaria would also come in the peripheral blood during night. So that is known as nocturnal periodicity. Different worm has a different periodicity, which is uh, based on the its vector, the intermediate host, and its biting habits. So these are the different worms. These all are known as filarial worms, morphologically almost similar. They all have an adult and the microfilaria. Uh, of this list, two, W. bancrofti and B. malai, this both are there in the lymphatics and produces lymphatic filariasis. The microfilaria is having sheath. Here the tail is pointed and here the tail is blunt. The vector for this is mosquito. Mostly it is Culex, though it may be transmitted by other mosquito also, like Anopheles horridis. And here it is Mensonia. The type of mosquito is different. The rest of the filaria worms like Loa loa, Onchocerca, and there are three species of Mensonella. this we'll discuss in part 2, but its habitat are different. For example, this is subcutaneous, this is in peritoneum and pleura, like that, but all have microfilaria, and there is some host, insect host. It may be mosquito, different type of mosquito which transmit this infection. So if we see lymphatic filariasis and its epidemiology, most of the time it is produced by Wuchereria bancrofti, very common in tropics and subtropics. So like other nematodes, most of the nematodes, Asia, Africa and South America are the areas where you will see this disease commonly. 94% of lymphatic filariasis is produced by W. bancrofti, and Brugia malai is the second most common agent. India, many states are having high endemicity like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand. These are the states where you will see many cases, and India accounts for almost 40% of the disease burden. So here you can see these are the countries, the Asian countries including India, African countries and South America. These are the countries where you will find most of the cases. Now the morphology. So in morphology we have to see the morphology of adult worm as well as the microfilaria. The adult worm is thread-like, the female is larger, around 7 to 10 centimeter, and male is almost half than the size of the female. This is male one, this is female. Usually this is seen in the lymph nodes of the human being. Another morphological form is microfilaria. The length is around 250 to 300 micrometer. So can be seen in the blood film. It is covered by hyaline sheath. So this is head part, this is pointed tail part, and this covering, this is the sheath, which takes very pale color in the staining. These are the nuclei which is stained very properly. These are the RBCs and the WBCs in the peripheral blood. So it is microfilaria. So it can be seen in the blood film easily and diagnosed very easily. Now we are coming to the life cycle of this worm. The definitive host is human being, as we have already discussed. The intermediate host is mosquito. It may be Culex, it may be Anopheles, or it may be Aedes. Any mosquito can transmit this infection, but in India, mostly it is due to Culex. The infective form is third stage larvae, which is transmitted by the bite of the mosquito. This is the intermediate host, Culex mosquito, which transmit this infection. So this is the life cycle. Human is the definitive host, mosquito is the intermediate host, and person would get infection by the bite of the mosquito. So this L3 larva, which is motile and active, when this takes blood meal, it gets deposited on the puncture site, on the skin of the puncture site, and from there it may gain entry into the human, and it would molt and convert itself into adult worm in the lymphatic system. Now this adult worm, male and the female, would after sexual reproduction would generate plenty of microfilaria. This is microfilaria, and this microfilaria would come in the blood circulation. In case of so this is microfilaria, that is the diagnostic stage. Usually we diagnose the infection by detection of this microfilaria. Now this is, as we have discussed, nocturnal periodicity, means it would come in the blood during night time. So if you want to diagnose it, the blood of the person should be collected in the night around 10 p.m. So this microfilaria would be there in the blood and we can detect it. Otherwise in the daytime it would be there in the capillaries of internal organ. So when you collect the peripheral blood, you will fail to see this microfilaria. So this microfilaria, when mosquito takes the blood meal during night, would be taken up by the mosquito. In mosquito, the sheet would be removed from the microfilaria, and first it would be a blunt, thick L1 larvae. Then it converts itself into L3, and third form is the actively motile long infective form, that is L3 larvae. That is the infective form of this. Now one point you have to remember here is, in mosquito it is mere an incubation of the worm and not the multiplication. What I mean to say, for example, if this mosquito has sucked you said 50 microfilaria during blood meal, that mosquito would develop only 50 L3 larvae. There would not be increase in the number or any asexual reproduction here. So it is mere transfer, but it will not increase in its number. So number of microfilaria taken in the blood meal by the mosquito, that number of L3 larvae would be there in the mosquito, and from that it may transmit the infection. That's why the probability of transmission of infection in microfilaria is very less. It is said that it requires almost 15,000 bites of infected mosquito to transmit the filariasis from one infected person to another infected person. That is due to this, because number is not increasing, it is not multiplying its number, so the transmission is there. But the number of microfilaria in blood is very high. So if mosquito takes blood meal, it would take many microfilaria, and that much L3 larvae would be there. Now the clinical features. If we see the clinical features, many person there would be asymptomatic. There would be some chronic symptoms, but basically will not show any symptoms. Sometime there would be much of the suffering, there would be disfiguring of the various limbs, and may lead to disability also. And sometime there would be hypersensitivity. So if we see how it happens, the pathogenesis. When this L3 larva would enter in the puncture wound, through that it would enter in the capillaries and reach to the lymph, and from there it would grow and reach to the lymph node. So adult worm resides in the lymph node, and where after sexual reproduction it would release the microfilaria. Now during this process, due to number one, presence of microfilaria, and number two, the immune response of the host, both would damage this lymphatic vessel. So this lymphatic vessel, there would be dilatation, there would be accumulation of the lymph, there would be accumulation of the lymph, and sometime even backup of lymph in the vessel, which leads to disfiguring. There would be an enlargement of lymph node, and finally that may lead to elephantiasis. So that is the pathogenesis of this. So if we see stepwise what will happen in the lymph, the first there would be lymphadenitis. So inflammation of lymph node, this is due to presence of adult worms. Lymphangitis, the lymph node, there would be inflammation, so the thickness of the wall would be there, and there would be structural damage to the lymph vessels. Lymphangiovarix, that is dilatation of the lymph vessel. Lymphoragia, it may rupture and lymph would come out, release of lymph, and sometime if it occurs in the urinary system, the chyle would be excreted in the urine, leads to person having such milky white urine. So this is normal urine and this is known as chyluria. Chyle is there in the urine. So this urine is creamy, yellowish cream, and which is very opaque due to presence of chyle in the urine. After that lymphangiovarix, there may be hydrocele, the obstruction of lymph vessel of the spermatic cord. So the scrotum would, there would be quite enlargement of that hydrocele, which requires the surgical treatment. Lymphedema, there would be accumulation of lymph which causes edema. Usually the lower extremities are the most commonly involved organ, but it may occur in any organ, and there would be finally elephantiasis. There would be damage to the connective tissue due to hypertrophy and hyperplasia, and there is a gross enlargement and disfiguration. That's why it is known as the leg is swollen, looks like a leg of elephant, feet of elephant. That's why in Hindi also this disease is named as Hathi Pav, and in Gujarat it is known as Hathi Pav. It is due to this symptom where the leg is swollen. If we see, you can see here the leg is and even scrotum. Here also, which really looks like the feet of the elephant. Again, this is involvement of feet. This type of lesion would make the person almost handicapped because it leads to disability. Here you can see the scrotum. You can see the sides of the swollen. Here, hand is also involved, both the hand, both the legs are also involved, and even scrotum. So this is scrotal elephantiasis. So basically it may involve any organ, even breast may be involved, but the most common organ which is involved is the leg. Now the one different thing which is not a classical filariasis is also known as occult filariasis. The name occult is very meaningful here because occult means it is not seen. So here basically it is due to hypersensitivity reaction to filarial antigen. So main pathogenicity is due to our immune mechanism, our immune mediated, and microfilaria are absent in the blood. You will not see microfilaria even during night. So if they are absent in the blood, it is also known as tropical pulmonary eosinophilia. Uh, the eosinophilia is very prominent, and there may be some other symptoms like arthritis, glomerulonephritis, thrombophlebitis, or tenosynovitis. So these are the symptoms of occult filariasis. The point to be noted here is the filarial worm itself is absent here, but they are dead also, but due to the antigen which is present in the system and there is allergic reaction towards that antigen, that leads to the symptoms. So with this we finish today's lecture. In the summary, what you have to remember in this today's lecture is life cycle and the pathogenicity, very important. Life cycle, human and the mosquito, two hosts. This is the adult worm, this is the microfilaria, and these are the way of the pathogenesis and nocturnal periodicity in W. bancrofti that you have to remember, that microfilaria would come in the blood during night. So with this, thank you very much. Hope you are studying well in this lockdown, and this you have to remember, where there is a will there is a way. So thank you very much. With this we finish today's lecture.